Good morning, people. Fresh new week. Rutuja, good morning. Ashutosh, good morning. Kirti Patel, good morning. Sheetal, good morning. Radhika, good morning. Manjari, good morning. Anjali Kumari, good morning. Ajit, good morning. Bini, good morning. Ganesh, good morning. Anuja, good morning. Ishwari, good morning. Who's this? Ishwari. Maitri, good morning. Swaradha, good morning. Harshada, good morning. Aditya, good morning. Achal, good morning. Gaurav, Harshal, Suharsha, Viraj, Purnima, good morning. Sahil, good morning. Sandesh, good morning. Rasika, good morning. Great to see students waiting for the lecture to start. I had a couple of people waiting for it. A few things that I need to. Tejas, good morning. Last week I have posted the 11th standard and 12th standard NCERT copies of physical geography and human geography. I did tell you all that there are certain sections of these two textbooks which are going to be relevant to us. And I also did say that we are going to take them as our baseline of study. Okay, we are going to study above it. We are not going to be below it. That is what we need to remember. I have uploaded the books on the drive, textbooks on the drive, my drive, and I've shared the link with you all. I would suggest that you download these two books also. Actually, Geography 11th and 12th NCERT have two copies. One is the Fundamentals of Physical Geography, and the other is Physical Geography of India. The other is Fundamentals of Human Geography, and then Human Geography of India. Okay, this underlines the point that I have been referring to, that geography is an integrated thing. Now, secondly, this being a new month and technically going, we are supposed to be starting with our, as per UGC guidelines, we are supposed to be starting with our terms this month. That was supposed to be the 2nd of November. Bhushan, good morning. And in that sense, we are supposed to be having our regular lectures. Probably the vice principal will come up with a revised timetable. I'm not very sure whether it would be before Diwali or not, but technically we should be. But all of us know that we have already conducted a considerable number of lectures. We have been speaking for 3 weeks. Of course, two lectures each paper each week. So 6 to 7 lectures probably we have had. But what has happened is, in the meantime, I've seen that start of the immediately after the induction, when we introduced the groups to the students, the number was somewhere around 84, 85, and some students were out, and as a consequence, we find that today, in fact, this number has gone up to 118, 19. Still, I believe that there are quite a few students who are still missing out. I am told that the number of geography students should be somewhere around 140, 150. And we are probably around 119. But since it has been a significant number, around 35 people who have increased, I plan to just brush up what all we have done. I plan to finish it in the first 5 to 10 minutes, and then we'll continue. So without wasting much time, I would share my screen, and let us start with yeah. If you remember, we started with this slide. Okay, it's basically geography is the earth all on its own, and then you have the land, that because human being is a land animal, and of course the human influence on that. I'm going to go into the detail in further slides. Then we speak about Patrick Getz, who says that geography is basically the synthesis and the mother of all sciences. You can link to various sciences. In fact, I would go beyond that, and I say I could link to the humanities subjects, but because this is a science class, I would say that I could link it to biology, I could link to mathematics, anthropology, geology, astronomy, chemistry, and of course, we are missing physics out of it also. So, all these subjects seem to be, if you fall in the line part of it, or if we go into the timeline of these subjects, the history of the timeline of these subjects is what the timeline is the word nowadays we use as far as social media is concerned. We see that geography comparatively is much older as compared to the other subjects as such. Then we spoke about Eratosthenes, who is the person who coined the word geography for us, and he lived, say, about 2300 years ago from now. He wrote a book on geography, and in that he had this so-called world map, okay, of the world, which had the Mediterranean Sea in the center and all that area around it, and of course, what was precise about it was the location of the Nile River and the delta of the Nile and the islands of Italy, Sicily, Cyprus, etc., in the Mediterranean Sea. So map making was an interesting thing. Another important contribution of Eratosthenes was that he measured the approximate length of the circumference of the Earth, and it was very near to what we have measured the circumference of the Earth to with using technical or technology. You'll see that in this diagram towards the south, towards the bottom line, the center, you have various other philosophers like Archimedes and Poseidonus and Plato, who assumed the shape of the earth and of course the circumference of the earth. How did he do that? He used basic geometry, I would say. This figure right to the right bottom right of your screen is on a particular day. We know that the sun comes overhead and it goes other ways, from the equator to the Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. We would be discussing that in detail when we spoke about climate and other things. But he saw that on a particular day, when the sun's rays were reaching the bottom of a well at a particular place. Now, this is a bit of exaggeration, but this is how we measured it. And this was a place called Seine, which was to the southern part of Egypt, or in southern Egypt, I would rather say. And then he went, at the same time, he asked people to measure the what was the occasion as far as this place in Alexandria was concerned. However, the sun's rays were not perpendicular in Alexandria. So he developed a triangle. He measured the angle of the shadow and, of course, opposite angle of that. Now, he assumed that if the difference between these two is these two places, it makes an angle of so many degrees at so many degrees at so many kilometers, then he extended that angle to 360, which makes the complete circle, and he compounded it with the land distance, and that is how he got the approximate circumference. Quite an interesting way. It's very basic when we look at it now, but it's a very interesting way. And then top right is the various contributors to the subject of geography and otherwise. You'll see that no subject, however, could claim Pythagoras as their own, or Socrates as their own, Hippocrates as their own. But you'll see that they were people who were very great philosophers who were looking into various aspects of life, and they spoke about mathematics, they spoke about physics, they spoke about chemistry, they spoke about geography, only that we did not call these subjects by their respective names then. In the sense, you'll see that as far as Eratosthenes is concerned, geography as a term comes much later. I would say nearly 300 years after Pythagoras speaks about his angles and triangles. And then you have Hipparchus, who is a disciple of Eratosthenes, and then, of course, the progress of geography. We also spoke about the minuscule definition of this particular subject, that geography is the study of the earth in space and time. When we speak about space, In geographical sense, we call it as a location, the spatial aspect of a particular place. And time is, instead of time, we use the word temporal in the sense of geography. And you'll see that we need to understand the concept of scale, best understood on maps, because when you have a map in front of you, you have a scale at the bottom of it saying that 1 centimeter on the map is equivalent to 500 kilometers, let us say, on the ground. You have what are called as large scale maps and small scale maps. We are going to come to that. I've not done it with the other class as well. Remember that. And then, of course, we have to put man in this particular scale so that the perspectives and the perceptions change accordingly. This was another thing that we had done. I had asked you all to download a app called as Weather and Radar. I also said that yes, Google has its own way of giving you the weather, but here you'll see that you can just go into the details of any place on the surface of the earth. And as geographers, we need to have this with us basically, because it's a wise thing to do to understand what is happening, because you'll see that as far as the weather around us is concerned, we hardly can see it change, but we can feel it change. So whether it is going to change, whether it is going to stay as it is, you'll see that this app gives you a lot of details of that. Okay. Then this was a slide on which we spoke literally for 2 lectures, which are the 5 themes, obviously, because this happens to be the core of geography, and we spoke about location. And we divided this location into absolute location and relative location. Relative location is relation to in relation to something. So when we're speaking about land, it is in relation to water. So when we call a particular place as a peninsula, when we call a particular place as an island, how do we define an island? It's a place surrounded by water on all sides. Peninsula surrounded by water on 3 sides. Similarly, we have a gulf, we have a strait, and we have an strait, and we have an isthmus. Okay, so Panama, say for example, the Panama Canal and the country of Panama is at a location of isthmus. And then you have what is called as an isthmus of Kra also. I want you all to check where this is, K-R-A. It's nearer to India as compared to Panama. And then we spoke about absolute location, which is giving you the mathematical coordinates of a particular place. If we have one particular coordinate for the X and the Y cross, it's called as a place. Okay, and when you zoom into that, okay, the place will we zoom into the place as such. Then we have to give what is called as an extent. So we have spoken about 2 concepts of location and extent also. Then we spoke about the second thing that geography deals with is place. Okay, we start with location and then we start zooming into various parts of the earth, and that is how we arrive at place. A place has natural characteristics, a place has human characteristics. Natural characteristics are independent, human characteristics are dependent on nature. And while we study them, we realize that human and environment interaction are so very related to each other. And we need to study how human beings have used the environment. We also need to study how man has adapted to the environment. And we also have to study how they both of them have adapted, or rather have impacted each other, how man has impacted environment and how environment has impacted man. But you'll see that when environment has impacted man, it has not been that aggressive. On the other hand, when man has impacted the environment, he has been very aggressive, and he has been the cause for extinction of many other species. And of late, we are discussing about that worldwide, and sustainable development, climate change, etc., are the things which are being discussed on a very broad scale when we speak about human environment interaction. Then another core of geography is movement. Okay, so it deals with all types of movement: people moving, goods moving, ideas moving. And in fact, nowadays, I did say that time also that data is also moving. I'm speaking at one end of this city, and you are hearing at me on the other end of the city, and in fact in other places in Maharashtra, or probably beyond Maharashtra also. This has been possible basically because we are not moving, but the data is moving. And the speed of data, just imagine, Okay, with a lag of some milliseconds, you are able to hear me. It's basically, or it's all due to and thanks to technology that we are able to do this. Now, the last theme that we geography deals about is a region. You would have a question as to what is the difference between a place and a region. A place is uh, I would say just entering into a region. When you enter into a region, or say by the time you have discussed from place and arrived at region, you have studied two more themes. So when I speak about region, I need to speak about the human environment interaction. What are the types of movements that are taking place as far as this particular region is concerned? What are the commonalities that you find within a particular region? How does that particular region differ from other parts and other regions of the world? Say, for example, how does the equatorial region differ from the tundra region? Okay, we call this as an equatorial region because there is a definite set of characteristics which apply to the equatorial type of climate, and there is a definite set of characteristics of climate which apply to the tundra type of climate, and these two are very separate. Okay, in the tundra region, the precipitation is in the form of snow. In the equatorial region, the precipitation is in the form of water. Here, it's all throughout the year. There, it may not be throughout the year, some part of the year. The temperatures here, the seasonal temperature and the diurnal temperature. Diurnal is day and night temperature, and seasonal is between summer and winter. In fact, interesting part is the equatorial climate doesn't have a summer and winter. It has the same climate throughout the year. What exactly leads us to discuss into summer and winter? We'll go into the details probably in a few slides from now, or else if you don't have time now, we would of course be referring to it when we speak about climate, because that is the base on which we discuss that. Okay, and you go to the tundra regions, you'll see that the diurnal temperature, the daytime and nighttime temperature variations are quite different to the equatorial type, and the seasonal temperature obviously are absolutely different to what you find in the equatorial region. Just to brief you, the variation in temperature, daily or seasonal or yearly or annual, whatever you would say, is very less in the equatorial region. On the other hand, it is huge between as far as the tundra region is concerned. While the summer temperatures could be somewhere around 15 degrees, 18 degrees, the winter temperature would be minuses, minus 30, minus 40. Just see the variation, 50 degrees of change from summer to winter. As far as the equatorial region is concerned, the variation is just a few degrees. The summer temperatures, or rather the warmer temperatures, I would say, would not go beyond 35, and the colder temperatures hardly fall below 18 degrees. So it's hardly a change of 16, 17 degrees, while it's nearly 50 degrees when you go to climates having extremes of regions having extremes of climate. So that is what makes geography interesting. You locate a place and you find the human and the natural characteristics of the place, and you find and you study the human environment interaction, and you get the specialities of that, and these specialities get to move, and the commonalities of that particular place and the difference that that particular place makes with other regions are called other places is called as regions. So these are the 5 themes around which geography revolves. We spoke about this. I don't think I need to go into the details of that because this is not a part of your syllabus. I will be posting the PDF of this particular PPT in our group, so you can have the details. It is very informative. If you have queries, I think we have discussed it twice, so I believe we don't have much queries in this. And then we come to the introduction to geography. What is geography all about? It is basically in terms of physics and chemistry, in core science, it is the study of the solid, liquid, and gas of this particular planet, which yield life on this particular planet. And of late, another environmental issue, environmental in the sense, regionalistic issue, is coming up in the natural sense, of course. And if we bring it to the geographical context, the solid part of it is land, the liquid part of it is water, and the gaseous part of it is obviously the atmosphere. All of them coordinate with each other naturally in such a way to give rise to what is called as the biosphere. The biosphere, we know, is further divided into the plant kingdom and the animal kingdom. And of late, in the last 2 2.5 decades, we have found that cold temperatures are making an impact. Okay, and in fact, you'll see that when we speak about cold and warm temperatures, we immediately come to climate change. Possibly that is the reason that of late we have started looking into what is called as the fourth sphere, the cryosphere, CRYOSPHERE, cryosphere. So the land part or the solid part is the lithosphere, the liquid or the water part is the hydrosphere, the gaseous or the the gaseous part is called as the atmosphere, and of course the living part on this planet is called as the biosphere. The environment, cold temperature dominated environment, is called as the cryosphere. Uh, because this is a revision, okay, this is something that I did on a later lecture, but now I have gone into the details of the app. For those who have downloaded the app, I would tell you all that, okay, this part shows you the place which I did all these things. I'm placed in Chinchwad. And then, of course, you have the sunrise here and you have the sunset time here. If you remember, 29th of September, okay, 29th of September, Pune had an equal day and equal night. And by, if you can just see today, there is a difference of nearly 35 minutes between the sunrise and sunset. In fact, the days have gone smaller and the nights have gone longer, okay, which was the other way before 29th of September. And then this part of your screen would show you what is going to happen R-wise, the temperatures. You'll see that the temperatures are rising. This is not for today, let me tell you. This is something that I've taken earlier. And then you see that yellow dot, and obviously that is the sun. You're going to have bright sun. And then arrow that near the sun is basically the wind direction. And below that now you have that drop and the percentage numbers there. This is the probability of rain. Okay, so that is it. And then you have these boxes below that mentioning 100, 110, 100 again, and 90. It's basically the air quality index. Okay, and further in detail, you have the air pressure, relative humidity, wind, and AQI. Then as far as these aspects are concerned, okay, these three lines here, the horizontal lines here, if you click that, you come to this, okay, and then you can change your locations. Okay, you can change your locations, or you can keep your permanent location and you can change to other places and have a look at what is the weather like in other parts. Then you have weather in Chinchwad, that's my place. I'm located at the weather map, the temperature map, weather news camera. If you want to post to this site, they are so very open that if you want to post a weather phenomena around you to them, they have provided it for the facilities there in this app itself. You just switch on to the camera and you click, and of course the photo gets uploaded onto their site as such. Remove ads is basically because normally this is supposed to be a free app, but if you want, it comes with its ads like all other apps as such. But if you want to remove apps, you have to buy a prescribed and licensed copy of this, which is not required as far as students of FYBSc is concerned. In fact, even I am not using a licensed copy as such. Okay, so this is what all is about this app. And of course, every week, we'll go a slide ahead as far as understanding this app is concerned. Then we spoke about the most important thing as far as your syllabus is concerned. We spoke about geography and its divisions, I would say. And probably that is what we had come to last lecture. And we divided geography into three major parts. And I did say that I still have I'm skeptical about dividing geography into three parts, because to me, to the orthodox geographer, geography is divided into two major parts: physical and human geography. Physical geography is nothing but all the nature, including all the animals and man as a part of that particular animals. Okay, he is not capital MAN. If you remember, I said that then also. He's just small MAN. He's part of the systems, and that is how all physical geography is about. Human geography is man. Now man grows from small MAN to capital MAN. He influences the environment. He tames land, he tames water by building dams, he tames land by agricultural practices and constructing houses, etc. He tames animals and domesticates them. So all that he has done, he travels from one place to the other. Okay, all that is basically studied in human geography. His settlement, his number, population, all that comes in human geography. Now, with such large scope for human geography, obviously man comes up with the economic aspect also, that you have resources, and it is these resources that tend to be exchanged for some particular value. It is this resource and exchange which brings a new section of economic geography. As I said, I still believe that economic geography is a part of human geography, but the fact that I've kept it here is because the resources of economic geography could be natural. Got it? In the sense, the fish, the wood, the minerals, all of it is natural. But you sell fish, SELL, you are going to sell fish, you're going to sell minerals, you're going to sell wood. Okay, so that is economic geography. Who is doing that? Human. So I would say that there is some part of economic geography is there in physical geography, major part of it is in human geography. So I would keep it open for students to decide whether economic geography needs to be a subpart of human geography or whether it needs to be uh, a part of physical geography as such. Then we need to shift to the next aspect of what we are related to, and that is physical geography. Remember that as far as physical geography is concerned, that's paper one, and you'll have one paper in the first semester and one paper in the second semester. We are going to do 3 of those squares for us now. Geomorphology is what we are going to do more in the first semester. As far as the second semester is concerned, we enter the climatic part of it. That's the atmosphere and of course the hydrosphere. Okay, we do this, both of them as such. Okay, and geomorphology is something that we are going to do in this particular semester. A lot of this in detail is there in the NCERT books, the links for which I have shared in our groups as well. Biogeography is something that we don't have as a part of your syllabus this year. You may have it at some other point of time. Then coming to human geography, what are you going to study about human geography? Human geography is something that you're going to do as far as the next paper 2, first and the second semester. First thing is the basics of human geography. Then what you have is population geography. You're going to see numbers, etc. You don't have cultural geography, but that is also studied in human geography. And then you have settlement geography, urban, rural, and so on and so forth. You again don't have political geography. Your question would be, sir, is it that in human geography you only have population and settlement? No, we have still waiting for this part of geography. That's the economic geography part of it. Okay, and what are you going to study in that? You're going to study agriculture, you're going to study industry, you're going to study transport. However, will not have resource and geography of development. So this is in brief. I've tried to be very fast. I know I'm very fast, but as I said and had announced that this is going to be our revision lecture of all that we have done till now. And let us move ahead. If you remember, I said that we need to, a very important concept that geographers need to understand before they dwell into the details is scale. Now, scale is used in maps. Maps are a very important component that a geographer uses to explain, to locate, to analyze, whatnot. Everything that is done around geography has to be done with the use of a map. As such, and without a map it becomes very difficult to handle these situations. Now I did say today that we have 2 types of maps. We have large scale maps and small scale maps. Now interestingly, you'll see that towards the top of your screen you have the map of the United States of America, and then you have this place called as Atlanta, and towards the right of your screen you'll see that they have written that it is a small scale map. Now what you have to understand the logic, and it's only when you understand the logic that you would be in a position to identify. The moment your map comes in front of you, you should be in a position to identify that this is a small scale map, this is a large scale map. Okay, small scale in the sense you are able to see places on a very small scale, very minuscule. If you're going to zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, then you come to the map placed towards the bottom. It's the same place. Now you are having a detail of that, and such maps are called as large scale maps. You'll see that tourist maps, for example, are large scale maps, local tourist maps as such. Now, what is this whole issue about scale? If you read here, the first part up here, 1 centimeter on the map is equivalent to 940 kilometers on the map. Okay, so the scale of land used is very, very small. Okay, you are not able to see the details, but here you'll see that you have zoomed in to such an extent that from 1 centimeter is to 940 kilometers, you have come down to 1 centimeter is 13 kilometers. So here, 1 centimeter, that's the top one, 1 centimeter occupied 940 kilometers. And here you'll see that 1 centimeter occupies 13 kilometers. So which of this is going to be detailed? The southern one, the one at the bottom is going to be detailed. Detailed maps are called as large scale maps. You'll see that maps which are not in detail are called as small scale. You'll see that it depends on the purpose. Okay, you would say that why do geographers use these two types of map to confuse people? No, it is the purpose that I need to. Okay, so when I'm speaking about the United States of America, I need to speak about, I need a small scale map, isn't it? I need to see the whole country of United States of America in front of me. But then if I say that no, I don't want the whole of United States of America. I need to see only the Gulf of Mexico and the region around it. Then I zoom into it, and you'll see that the scale now increases from 1 centimeter to 940 kilometers to 1 centimeter is equal to 370 kilometers. You have details not as large as the bottom one, but as say compared to the upper one, you have now more in detail. Then you say that no, I don't want that part. I want to go to the state of Atlanta. So you go further into it, and you'll see that now the scale is further enlarged. Okay, you'll see that you see more of details. You see the whole state of Atlanta here, and you'll see I am forgetting if the state is called as Atlanta, but you'll see that I would say you are able to see the whole state properly in which the city of Atlanta is located, and now the scale has increased to 1 centimeter is equal to 160 kilometers. You would say, Are no, Baba, I don't want the point Atlanta. I want to see the city of Atlanta. The first geographer will say, okay, let me help you with that. He'll further go into zooming in, and now at the bottom you'll see that the place of the city of Atlanta, and of course the highways that are passing through Atlanta can now be seen here. You have come to the utmost detail. It's not that the detailing stops here. You could further go into the details here. Okay, this is very similar to. Okay, now geographers have moved to what is called as live data, live streaming, live analysis, and so on and so forth. You'll see that as far as Google Maps are concerned, for example, you'll see that when you are traveling to a particular place, you fix a location there that, okay, I need to go to SP College, and then it will show you the place. As you arrive nearer to the place, if you start from Delhi coming to SP College, then you'll see that Google will show you the first map. When you enter Maharashtra, it will show you the third map or probably the second map. When you enter Pune, it will show you the third map, and when you are nearby SP College, it will show you the say bottom the map at the bottom of this particular slide as such. So from a small scale map, you come all the way to a large scale map. I hope you understand this. Now, this is not a part of your theory syllabus, but let me tell you, this is definitely a part of your practical syllabus. I am not in a position to let you know when your practicals will start, but this is something that you have to keep in mind when we are doing your practicals. Okay, a small scale map and a large scale map. Okay, so that is about the maps and the scale of the maps. And now you may realize the importance of scale that a geographer is referring to. Let us move ahead. When we speak about geography, and I have to place geography in it's very similar to the themes of geography. It's only that we had a planar aspect as far as the themes there was concerned. Here it's a three-dimensional aspect, in the sense when you're looking at the subject geography, what are the various aspects that we actually normally need to have. Okay, you see that this is based on what is the viewpoint. Viewpoint in the sense, I would say this earlier map. Okay, whether I have to look at the whole of United States, or whether I have to look at some states of the United States, or whether I have to look at a particular place. what is my viewpoint, okay, what is the place at which, okay, what is the space, okay. You'll see that if you remember the themes slide, okay, the space or the place, we need to understand it from the fact that we need to understand where is the place, or say how do you go to that particular place. And of course, another aspect of viewpoint is why are we going to that particular place, studying that particular place, and so on and so forth. What is the view that you are having as far as studying a particular aspect in geography is concerned. And of course, the last point is scale. As far as the scale is concerned, we have already seen the importance of this aspect, that is scale. Okay, from large scale to small scale, or otherwise from small scale maps to large scale maps, it becomes very difficult to understand and give the right analysis and synthesis unless and until you are known to uh, say the idea of scale. Now let me just show you that if these scales are interchanged, the first one and the last one, if we tend to interchange, now just imagine what would happen, that on this map now we say that 1 centimeter is going to be 13 kilometers, and here 1 centimeter is going to be 940 kilometers. This is a very curious thing as to how a geographer would perceive if we exchange these scales as such. Okay, that's the importance that the geographer gives to the concept of scales as such. Then, for a considerable period of time, you'll see that most of geography was around this. But of late, last 200 years, last 250 years, we have gone into what is called a synthesis. Okay, you'll see that we have realized that man is not a stand-alone animal. Okay, he is basically one amongst the various animals that we have around us, and he has to interact. Going back to that, remember that themes of geography slide. So we have the man-land environment interaction, and of course we have the place. We saw that every place will have what are called as the physical subfields and the human subfields. Okay, physical subfields and human subfields. If you remember, I did say then also that physical environment is standalone, but human environment is dependent on physical environment, in the sense man needs water that comes through rain, man needs energy that comes through sunlight, and so on and so forth. And of course, in between them, you always have to look into the relationship between the human aspect and the physical aspect as such. So the human physical interaction is another synthesis that geography goes into. So there are three basic things. You exclusively are speaking about nature. You exclusively are speaking about human beings. Now, what is that exclusiveness? Population. Let me tell you that though we may try to identify human subfield as separate, it's very difficult, basically, because though when we're speaking about population, you are only speaking about individual human beings, but still you'll see that why a particular population, why does India have that much density of population? Why does Saudi Arabia does not have that much amount of density of population? Why does Australia, why does it not have that much density? Why does Canada? So here again come physical things. So that is why human and physical interactions, study of them becomes equally important in them. Those who have seen the started looking into the pictures and diagrams of Strahler will recollect that this cube I've picked up from the book of Strahler. Anyway, so now that we have a viewpoint of geography, we have got a synthesis about what are we supposed to be doing. How do we represent it? How does man represent that aspect of geography as such? This representation comes through various ways. In the sense, you'll see that when we speak about cognition, okay, what does cognition mean? Okay, you'll see that this is a very interesting word. Okay, I bet a lot of students who have done their studying in English medium also would realize that this is a new thing as such. Cognitive is if you say if you meet someone who you have seen in childhood, and then you meet this person, male or female, after many years, and they say that hello, do you recognize me? Okay, cognition and recognition. Okay, recognize. Okay, what does recognize mean? Recognize. Okay, you recognize only when you have a cognition. Okay, so cognition is basically identifying things. Geography is a science of identifying things. Say for example, water. What is the difference between saline water and fresh water? Recognition. The moment you see a river and you want to drink water from that, you recognize it is stored somewhere. Okay, it is stored somewhere that this liquid is drinkable. Okay, that happens, you recognize basically because you have cognized it sometime earlier. So the first time you come in interaction with anything, you cognize it. Okay, that's a cognitive effect. And then when it comes back to you, you call it as recognition. Okay, and recognition comes with the fact that you already have identified the importance, the relevance, the reference of that particular resource, that particular commodity, that particular thing in an earlier part of its history as such. So geography representation is basically cognition. Okay, say study of rivers, study of mountains in different parts of the world, is all is cognition. So when I come and stand in front of the Himalayas, I would say that these are fold mountains. I recognize that these are fold mountains because I've studied that these what fold mountains are. When I look at Kilimanjaro or when I look at Mount Fujiyama, I say that these are volcanic mountains basically because I recognize them, because there has been a cognition about volcanic mountains earlier. And then I could have fold mountains. Similarly, I could have the Nile River and its recognition, and then the delta. All this comes into, I recognize it as a delta. The Sundarbans is basically because I've learned earlier as to what a delta is. Then I'll keep GIS a bit away, and then I come to maths and stats. Okay, you'll see that when I speak about construction of a dam, when I speak about supplying of water to a particular city, when I speak about traveling from one place to the other, that's transport. When I speak about the impact of an earthquake, when I speak about the impact of an volcano, when I speak about the impact of a tornado, how do I speak about the impact of these? It's basically when I have some mathematical models, I have some statistical models as such. Okay, you'll see that maths and stat is used, of course, in all subjects, and so does geography also. Uses it in modeling, that if I want to construct a dam of this particular size, what say, or for example, or let us say that if I have a population of 50 lakh people, that's of Pune, to be using water for whole month, for the whole year. Okay, what would be the size of water that I need to be accumulating behind a particular dam? I would have a mathematical model for that. If I am not able to get the right answer, the pinpointed answer, I would try to do it in a statistical way. The rate at which I would probably think that, okay, this much amount of water should be enough. Yeah, probably this should be enough. Why is a statistical model more important at times to mathematical model? Say because mathematics is a very pinpointing science and statistics is a probable science. How do I explain it? Say that when I speak about mathematics, I would say that 50 lakh of people in Pune, right? So let us say I will ask people that how much water do you consume during the day? So he would say that, okay, drinking this much, washing this much, and so other things this much. So he would say, okay, near around 150 liters of water per day. So for immediately I will multiply it by 365. I would say that one person requires so many liters of water in a year. So 50 lakh people would require so much of water in a particular year as such. So I start constructing a dam. So will be a mathematical thing. But statistical modeling would include that what if, say, I would go on thinking that what if that particular person says that, okay, one day I'm not going to use that much of water, or the other day he says that I would use more water. This is a probability that one time he may use, the other time he may not use, and all this creates a confusion. But we have statistics for our help, that here again we could probably say that yes, there could be an increase in population, there could be people using this water for agricultural purpose, some people would use it for industrial purpose. So taking all these considerations, what could be the probable number of liters of water that we would require? So with your requirement, just like as per requirement we look into large scale and small scale maps, similarly the requirement of a particular model, what type of model you require, is how we study mathematical and statistical models as such. Then once you the fourth aspect, descriptions. See, when you cognate something, okay, when you recognize something, you need to note it down, okay, that this thing is this. Okay, why, how do I know Himalayas are fold mountains? Because for centuries together, geographers have been writing about the fact that, okay, fold mountains and this is that, and so on and so forth. So descriptions, we represent geography in descriptions also. And of course, we represent the last thing, we represent geography as a part of visual display also. You'll see that uh, the next thing to which is important to geographers as far as maps is concerned is diagrams. You draw n number of diagrams to put forth your point as far as geography is concerned. It could be a V-shaped valley, it could be a U-shaped valley, it should be a trough-shaped valley and whatnot. Okay, you'll see that visual display. I have to create a visual display, V shape, okay, U shape, trough shape. Okay, that's visual display, and you'll see that this would not be possible in microbiology, for example. Okay, visual display is not going to be. Of course, nowadays you have these PPTs, etc., that we are using, but normally you'll see that it would not be easy. Okay, and then the last thing, representation using GIS. GIS is geographic information systems. GIS is nothing but digital mapping. Digital mapping, in the sense we have been drawing maps. Eratosthenes drew the first world map, but today we can do this in GIS. Now, why? How do you use? What is the advantage of GIS over the earlier maps? Say, for example, when we're speaking about the times of Eratosthenes, to draw, so to have another map, he had to draw. You did not have Xerox, you did not have photos, you did not have selfies, nothing at that particular moment of time. So if you wanted a second map, you again had to draw it. Okay, probably you could trace it or you could again draw it, but that was a hell lot of a task. Okay, but you'll see that over the period of time, we went into the art of drawing and then replicating and then xeroxing and so on and so forth, to a fact that we placed all this technology in a digital environment, and this digital environment is called as the GIS environment, geographic information systems. Nothing to do corely with geography, but because it speaks about place, world, and so on and so forth, the word geographic information systems. You'll see that you have engineers also into this particular field, but a geographer is known to understand GIS more better, basically because wherever you go, the philosophy of GIS tends to come out of geography. Okay, the technology may come out of engineering, but the logic of GIS comes from geography as such. So now you'll see that the other day, if you remember, I was speaking about digital sound and stereo sound. Okay, the same thing can be done visually as far as digital mapping also is concerned. Okay, I can increase and decrease the height of a particular place. I can change. So and I'll at a click of my mouse, I can keep changing maps here and there. Okay, I can have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of maps. I can just copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. I could have n number of copies, and then I could just change a bit of them here and there to give me the right understanding. Okay, or if I want to change, okay, you'll see that in if you're reading the same thing in Strahler, they've used the word manipulation. Now, manipulation in our sense tends to be comes in a negative sense, and that is why I'm not using the word saying that GIS helps to manipulate things. In fact, you'll see that if I want to interpolate, now what is interpolation? Interpolation is, say for example, I have an x and y axis and I'm drawing a curve. Say for example, let us say the Sensex, okay, the share prices of a particular company that has been taking place, the variation from March to, let us say, 2nd of November, that is today. Now, if somebody asks that what is it going to be like in November, now given the trajectory of a particular curve of a particular trade, I could say that, okay, see, the trend is going up, so possibly in December and Jan it will still continue to go up. Here we are not taking into consideration what would happen in late November. It could so be that you could have a second cycle wave of corona, like it is happening in many European countries as such, and the share price would suddenly come down. But given the present circumstances, it is going to go up. So GIS will give you an option that if I want to make it go up, how do I see it going up? If it's coming down, how do I see it coming down? Now, I would give you a more geographical example as far as understanding GIS is concerned. How does it help? Say, for example, I am an multinational company who is working in tourism, who buys up some place in Switzerland. Switzerland, we know, is known for its tourists, has a maximum number of tourists coming to Switzerland. Now, if I am to set up a skiing club, ice skiing club, uh, I would require a lot of things. Now, I purposely chose Switzerland basically because it's a very conscious country when it comes to safety and when it comes to facilities of its tourists. I have been to Switzerland, and that is why I can say that it's a very tourist-friendly country. I can assure you that people beyond, though it's a hilly country, let me tell you, somebody who is 75 and even 80 years of age can travel to Switzerland at any point of time, and she would encounter minimum amount of stress, I would say. That's basically because they take care of all these things, uh, and that is why I've taken this example of Switzerland. So if I'm supposed to be coming up with a ski resort, what are the various things that I would be looking into? There would be physical aspects, there would be human aspects, there would be economic aspects. Speaking about the geographical senses, skiing, of course, requires a slope. So the first thing I would require is a slope map of that particular region. Then skiing, of course, requires snow, so I would require the snowfall periods of that particular region. See the number of data that I would require. Um, when I'm going to invest, of course, I need to construct. So which part of that particular resort do I have construction? Which part do I have skiing platforms and so on and so forth is the third thing. Then I would require a road. So what would be the possible road that I would be building to that particular place is again something that I have to plan. Okay. Then I have to see that it's accessible. People need to, it should not be that people keep traveling for days together just to come to this particular resort. It should be very accessible. And from this is one side. The other side is I need to feed these people. These people are going to create a lot of waste. I need to dispose that waste as such. At the same time, if I'm environment conscious, I need to see that all this causes minimum amount of environmental pollution. Now I have maps for each of the statistics that I have discussed, and then what I do is I overlay these maps over each other. One map, second map, third map, fourth map. I put this in contact in a compact way, and assuming that they are transparent, I would try to get the best location where I can place my ski resort. So all this has now become possible in the GIS technology as such. You could have multiple maps, and each map could discuss one parameter, and it could be that digitally you can remove one map. Say if I have 10 maps, I've overlaid 10 maps above each other, and the client says that no, we are not considering this particular thing. Within a click, you remove that particular element, and now you are looking at the analysis using only 9 maps overlaid above each other. So that's a very fantastic thing that has been happening to geography and geographical mapping of late. That's GIS. So that is as far as the representation of geography is concerned. So the viewpoint, how am I going to look at anything around us, a place, a space, and of course the scale of that particular place space. Then the synthesis of all these things, the physical synthesis, of course the human synthesis, and the human physical interaction synthesis also. How do I represent it as geography? I cognate it, I recognize it. Okay. Then I go about modeling. I go about discussing things, mathematical and statistical modeling. Then I describe these things. Okay, I use visual display for describing these things, and then, of course, of late I'm using digital things to describe these things as well. Okay, so this is what we are supposed to be doing next time. That's tomorrow. We'll go into the dichotomy of geography. I want you all to go into this word dichotomy and be ready with the basic definition of this particular word. What does dichotomy mean, and how are we going to approach this particular topic? We are going to take it up tomorrow. For now, let us stop here. Okay, we have done these 3 things today. We have finished off with the say the divisions of geography, classification of subjects of geography. Then we spoke about the scale and the scaling of maps, and of course then we have looked into this cube of studying geography from the viewpoint, the synthesis, and representation. I'll stop sharing here, and Let me come back to this. Okay, now let me see if I have questions for me. Harshal says that lichens are found in polar regions or equatorial regions. And immediately somebody answers it within a minute. Om Patil says that it's in the tundra region. Yes, lichens are found in the colder regions. It's a combination of bacterial activity and algal activity. It's a symbiotic relationship. In fact, lichens are a symbiotic relationship as such. Lichens will not be found in the equatorial region. They will be found in the polar region as such. Okay, I'm waiting for questions just in case you have questions for me. If you don't have questions, I will stop here today. And of course, we'll meet back tomorrow and we'll go into further dwelling of understanding this fantastic subject of geography as such. If you have no questions for me today, I'm ending my broadcast here. Thank you for being at this particular presentation. See you tomorrow.